with you today to do one of my mobility sessions. So if you've been following me for the last, however months, you'd see that I am also a part of this awesome mobility program called Primal Mobility, which I will link in the bio or in the comments below. So if you guys are interested at all to also do one of these mobility programs, you get a mobility coach. The coach works with you, with all your discrepancies, weaknesses, if you've got injuries. So it will take the guessing out of figuring out which program will be best for you. So really an awesome thing to do, not just if you are an athlete. So I love doing this for weightlifting because it's great for loosening up the shoulders, the thoracic, the hips, and the ankles, which are all essential for weightlifting in order to move properly and get the best out of the movements. So that's why I'm such a big fan of this mobility program. And it's not just about getting flexy, it's about getting strong in those positions as well. So you're working a lot of stabilizers, so there's a lot of isometric holds, eccentric movements that will then strengthen the joints and the ligaments around those certain areas that you need in order to not get yourself injured. And even if you are injured, it's a great way to actually get yourself back to lifting, because you will now be doing the prehab to get you nice and strong, to get you back to lifting heavy weights. Okay, so I'm going to be starting off with you guys. One of my first exercises is the squat hold. I just also want to say, for those of you that are watching, if you have any questions for me, I will be answering questions. So this is a live Q&A as well. So ask me anything you like about weightlifting, life, mobility, whatever it might be, sports psychology. I'm here to answer your questions for the next about 20 to 30 minutes. So during my exercise breaks, so like my first exercise will be the squat hold. During my break, I will be coming to check to just see if you guys have any questions for me. On my community page on YouTube, I've also posted that I will be doing a live. So I had some questions over there that I will be answering as well. I wrote them down so that I know exactly, what you guys asked me so that I can answer it. So feel free to ask me anything. I'm going to start. So my first one, like I said, is a squat hold. So feel free to do the mobility with me at the exact same time. It's going to be 2 sets of holding a squat hold for 90 seconds. You want to make sure that you actively hold that position. Try to keep your back as straight as possible. Just go as low as you can. Don't force yourself into any movements. It's just a great way to loosen up those ankles and hips. This can be done on your training days, so it can be done before your weightlifting sessions, which I love doing because it just gets me really loose and just well primed for when I start my training. Or you can do it on your rest days. So like, for example, today is actually my rest day. It's Sunday here in New Zealand, so I am doing it as an active rest. I would normally have done either mobility or yoga or some sort of stretching, just to stay loose and make sure that when I go into my training on Mondays that, I did some sort of movement the day prior, and this just helps me to feel, like I didn't just do nothing the whole weekend. So I'll start off with my squat holds. 30 more seconds. Okay, so I will now take a 30 seconds rest. So like I said, if you guys have any questions, just pop them onto the question box and I'll answer them during my mobility sessions. I've got 20 more seconds to go. Make sure you guys get in the full mat. 10 more seconds and I will be doing this for a second set. No squat, clean or snatch, landing and squat. I can only power. Okay, I'm trying to just keep the message up. I can only power clean, power snatch. Any advice for us tall folks to get our body used to squat? The best thing that you can do is to do any kind of squat, clean or snatch, landing in a squat. Do you have any injuries? Do you have any prior problems that could be causing you to not want to land in a squat position? There's a lot of tall weightlifters out there. There's a lot of tall Olympic champions out there. So there's no discrimination against any tall athlete out there when it comes to the sport. Obviously, depending on your limb length, you will obviously have a different starting position. You will have a different way of pulling. So you just need to take care of that. And when you squat, you will squat the exact same way as what a short person would squat. And it's just about doing a lot of repetition. If you're scared and you find that it's a bit hard to do body weight movements, I would load it with potentially a kettlebell, like do a goblet squat, just to help you to have that weight to have like a counterbalance. Normally that's a great way to get a person to learn to squat. And even with weight, and after X amount of time, you can then start to add a barbell. It's not always the easiest to get under that bar with a full clean or like a full snatch, if that's what you meant with that question. A nice exercise that I like doing is things like your snatch pull unders and your clean pull unders. If you go to our raw strength, so RAWR strength YouTube channel, or even on my YouTube channel, Mental Skills by Mona, you will actually see that we've got a lot of explanations of those movements and why they are good to do. You can also go to our rawstrength.com website where we actually do an explanation on a lot of these exercises and even give some examples of what you can do to actually fix these movements. I hope that answered your question. I will now go into my second set of my squat holds. More seconds. Okay, next exercise we will do is the eccentric Cossack squat. So which means we will do like a Cossack squat, but just slowing down the movement. I'll again rest for about 30 seconds, and I rested a little bit longer there, but today also my priority is answering questions, and doing this as an active rest. If I would be doing this before training, normally I'd be a lot more strict, make sure I stick to my times. The nice thing also with the mobility is it comes in an app format, so you can just download the app and all your exercises will be there. And if you use the code MONA7, so MONA7, that will actually give you a discount code and also help you to get the perfect coach that will be working with you with the mobility. So if you're part of the raw strength weightlifting programming, this is another great addition for those athletes who just want to take their weightlifting to the next level, or if you are not even an elite athlete and you just want to become more mobile, especially for those people who sit at an office desk the whole day. This is a great way to make sure that you do not teach yourself bad habits. We sit in positions all day and we just become really stiff and tight, and we don't actually realize how tight our hips get, our thoracic gets, and obviously this carries over to us later on in life. So I'm a big believer of you have one body, one life, so make sure that you look after it. Okay guys, I'm now going to go into my eccentric squats, Cossack squats. If this is very easy for you, you can load it, so like with a dumbbell or a kettlebell. So my first set I will do as a warm-up set basically, and I will do 6 repetitions going down slowly into the movement. With my second set I will load with a dumbbell. You do not have to load with a dumbbell, but if you feel like you want to take yourself to that next level, then by all means do that. Okay, so eccentric Cossack squat is great for loosening up those ankles and those hips, again for before you squat or before any of your lifts. So if you do battle to get yourself into that squat position, that would be another great exercise to do along with your squat holds, to use as primers or warm-ups to get yourself ready for your mobility, or to be mobile in your squat, especially if you've got stiff hips or stiff ankles. I'm just taking a short rest, then I'm going to go into my second set. Another question, any updates on Tokyo? When are you going to go? What is the situation? So it looks at the moment, I might have lost my position with one spot, so I will not give up hope yet. We are still waiting to see. I will be making a post soon, just to say if I'm going or if I'm not going. I still hope, I'm crossing fingers to still be in the team. But yes, at the moment, it might have just been lost by one position, unfortunately. We will just, like I said, I will keep everyone updated on what's happening. I'm not done with training yet, still continuing to train, because things might still change. So we are just making sure that we are ready for, whatever happens. Okay, second set of the eccentric Cossack squat. This time I will be using a dumbbell just to load it a bit. So if you want to use a dumbbell or a kettlebell, that is perfectly fine, or you can just do it as a body weight. If you're not that supple, you do not have to go as low as I'm going. You can just go until you feel you've got a good stretch without forcing yourself into any positions that your body does not want to go into. Okay, I'll take another 30 seconds or so rest. Again, guys, if you have any questions, you can just ask me on here. Next off is front split lift offs. Okay, so with this movement, it's another great exercise for hip flexors. You'll see I'll be in a split stance. So if you, for example, with a split jerk, that's a split stance. I will be quite wide, so not quite how I would be doing a split jerk. I will then make sure my back knee is on the floor. The only thing that I will try and lift is my just my back knee off the ground, and I will be holding it for 5 seconds. So you can do that with me if you want. Front split lifts off, 2 sets of 4 with a 5-second hold. Okay, take a breather. I've got a question from my previous questions that I asked on my community box. And one of it was, What are some of the challenges faced by powerlifters when transitioning to Olympic weightlifting? So for those that don't know, powerlifting will consist of doing squats, deadlifts, and bench. And Olympic weightlifting consists of the snatch and the clean and jerk in competition. Obviously, we will use a lot of the powerlifting movements as strength movement. So a great way to get strong overall. But what I've seen, one of the biggest challenges faced is when powerlifters come from doing a lot of bench, their front delt and pecs are extremely tight, and this leads them to battle with the overhead position. They tend to be very forward, just because they have not trained a lot of rear delt or flexibility in that movement to be able to keep a barbell overhead and be able to go down without the barbell wanting to shift forward. A lot of athletes in powerlifting has also done low bar squats where the bar is pretty low, where in weightlifting we do high bar squats, and again they could just be facing mobility issues. So the biggest thing I would say is mobility. So if you make sure that you do powerlifting and you stay mobile, maybe this won't be an issue for you. But if you've been doing powerlifting for many years, it could very well be an issue. You do not see a lot of weightlifters do bench press, just because they do not want to overdevelop the front delts and the pecs, just because of that mobility issue of keeping. So we will more focus on things like push presses, pressing, all the vertical pressing, instead of obviously some horizontal pressing. So I hope that answers your question with the transitioning part. I'm going to now go into my second set of my split squat lift-offs. Good. Okay, one more exercise I'm going to do for you guys. That is the eccentric dorsiflexion. I will be using that bench over there. Very, very great exercise if you battle with squat mobility and it comes from your ankles. This is a great way to loosen up that ankles before your lifting session. So just one more question to quickly answer before I finish off with my last mobility exercise. One of the questions were, what are some of my plans later on this year, after we find out about Tokyo? Definitely to further my business. So my online business of rawstrength.com. I'm an online weightlifting coach. I'm also an online mental performance coach, like you've seen with Mental Skills by Mona. So I will be diving more into the sports psychology side of things, working with teams, working with athletes. That's something that's been my passion for a long time. That's why I studied it. And I definitely want to do more work in that direction, but continue my online coaching as a weightlifting coach. I have made it accessible for athletes to go on the rawstrength.com, and I'll link it in the comments below, to go and do affordable online coaching where you will get videos for every single exercise, explanations. There's training blocks for certain phases. There's a beginner level athlete program for 10 weeks. Then we also have our intermediate and advanced level programming, and you have the option of either doing 3 times a week or 5 times a week. That is up to you. So if you're a CrossFit athlete, I would recommend this 3 times a week. And if you are a weightlifting athlete looking to compete, I would then do the 5 times a week. Okay, so for my last exercise, my dorsiflexion, we'll be using a bench there. You do not need a bench. You can use books or anything that you want to stand on and just have something to hold on to. And it will basically you be onto your toes, pushing your ankle down, getting a nice stretch, then pushing your knee forward to get an even further stretch. Perfect. So with these mobility exercises, you will see if you join Primal Mobility, you will not do the same program twice. Your programs changes weekly. There will be certain emphasis on whatever you want to work for. So if you are injured, there is a section for athletes that are injured. Like I said, you will have a coach who will guide you along the way. So there's for injuries, there's for performance, there's for longevity, and for those athletes who do not have a lot of time to do mobility, there's even express workouts that you can do if you only have time for like 2 or 3 mobility exercises in a very short period of time. So literally that program caters for anyone. Yeah, but I just want to say thank you guys for joining my live today. If you have any questions, you can pop them in the comment section below, or just click on the links below if you want to join Primal Mobility or even our Raw Strength online programming. Or if you have any questions, like I said, you can ask them below. And again, thank you everyone for your time, and I will see you all soon.